Good morning! Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Good morning, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. When The Truman Show premiered in 1998, it was more than a comedy. It was a mirror held up to surveillance culture, media obsession, and the uneasy line between performance and real life. Directed by Peter Weir and led by a career-pivoting Jim Carrey, the film followed Truman Burbank, a man unknowingly raised inside a television set and broadcast to the world. Behind Sea Haven's perfect streets are stories as strange as Truman's escape. Some viewers later reported a Truman-like belief that their lives were being filmed. Psychiatrists documented this pattern and nicknamed it the Truman Show delusion. It is not an official psychiatric disorder in the DSM. It is a modern expression of older persecutory and grandiose delusions shaped by our media age. That cultural ripple sits alongside other wild production truths. Pay cuts that changed careers, a darker early script that almost turned the movie into a full conspiracy thriller, last-minute casting decisions that reshaped the tone, clever world-building tricks that made Sea Haven look real and feel wrong. Let's dive into 20 strange and true facts about The Truman Show.
Good morning, Truman.
Good morning, Truman.
Hey, how are you guys? Beautiful day, isn't it?
Always.
Nice talking to you, Truman.
You
Well,
too.
let's go now.
Hey, think about that policy,
Yes, sir.
huh?
Thank you.
Okay, that's 2 for 1. That's a good deal.
Fact 1. The script was originally a dark thriller. Before it became the quirky satire we know, The Truman Show started life as a gritty conspiracy thriller. Screenwriter Andrew Nichols' early draft, titled The Malcolm Show, set the story in New York City and leaned into paranoia, surveillance, and danger. Truman's world was darker, and the story ended with a bleaker tone. When Peter Weir came aboard as director, he reshaped it into the pastel-colored Sea Haven satire we know today. By adding humor and a softer ending, he made Truman's journey less about despair and more about hope. That tonal shift is why the movie resonates as both eerie and uplifting, instead of purely dystopian. Fact 2. The film anticipated the reality TV boom. When The Truman Show debuted in June 1998, reality TV wasn't new, but it hadn't yet become the global juggernaut we know today. Early versions existed: Candid Camera in 1948, PBS's An American Family in 1973, MTV's The Real World in 1992, yet none dominated mainstream culture. Just 1 year after Truman, Big Brother premiered in the Netherlands, 1999, followed by Survivor in the US, 2000. These shows turned voyeurism into mass entertainment, echoing the very premise of Truman Burbank's life as spectacle. In fact, Big Brother's creator admitted the movie spurred him to get a move on. Seen today, The Truman Show feels less like a quirky satire and more like a blueprint. Its prophecy didn't lie in inventing reality TV, but in predicting just how far audiences, and later social media users on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch, would go to live, watch, and monetize life under constant surveillance.
Beautiful day, isn't it?
Every single day.
The policy. We thought about it, and we're going to take it.
You're kidding.
No! Great!
Fact 3. Sea Haven was fictional, but filmed in a real town. Sea Haven, the flawless pastel paradise where Truman lives, isn't a real place, at least not by name. It was filmed in Seaside, Florida, a carefully planned coastal community designed in the 1980s to look like the perfect small town. Director Peter Weir chose it because it already felt like a movie set. White picket fences, manicured lawns, and streets so charming they seemed too good to be true. If you look closely, you can spot real seaside landmarks throughout the film. Truman's house still stands at 31 Natchez Street, drawing curious fans who stop for photos. The local grocery, Modica Market, is the same store where Truman shops. The Seaside Post Office and the town's iconic Coleman Beach Pavilion also appear on screen. The effect is uncanny. Seaside was built to look like an idolized community, and on film, it became Sea Haven, Truman's picture-perfect prison. Fact 4. The Truman Show delusion became a documented phenomenon. After The Truman Show was released, psychiatrists began seeing something unusual in their patients. People started reporting the belief that their entire lives were secretly being filmed. that family, friends, and even strangers were actors in a massive reality show. Psychiatrists Ian and Joel Gold studied these cases and, in 2008, coined the term Truman Show delusion. It's not an official psychiatric disorder listed in the DSM, but it is a modern twist on older forms of paranoid or grandiose delusions. In one real case, a man traveled to New York, convinced he'd find hidden cameras proving his life was staged. Another tried to climb the Statue of Liberty, certain he'd uncover the set of the show built around him. While not a brand new illness, the fact that a Hollywood satire reshaped the way delusions are expressed shows just how deeply The Truman Show embedded itself into our culture, turning fiction into a strange kind of psychological reality. Fact 5. Jim Carrey took a $8 million pay cut to make the film. At the time, Jim Carrey was the highest paid actor in Hollywood, commanding $20 million per film for hits like The Cable Guy and Liar Liar. But for The Truman Show, he accepted just $12 million, an $8 million pay cut, because he was desperate to take on a dramatic role that would prove his versatility. It was a gamble that paid off. Carrey's subtle, heartfelt performance earned him a Golden Globe and changed how critics and audiences saw him. By stepping away from slapstick into drama, Carrey redefined his career and gave The Truman Show the emotional weight it needed. Fact 6. Ed Harris was cast with days to spare. The role of Christof, Truman's godlike manipulator, wasn't always played by Ed Harris. Originally, Dennis Hopper was hired, but he quit after just 2 days due to creative differences. With the film already in production, Peter Weir scrambled to find a replacement. Harris was cast at the last minute, joining the shoot with only a few days of prep. Despite the rushed casting, Harris delivered a calm yet chilling performance that earned him an Academy Award nomination. His controlled, almost tender portrayal of Christof made the character far more unsettling than Hopper's edgier version might have been. Fact 7. The storm scene nearly overwhelmed Jim Carrey. One of the film's most harrowing moments comes when Christof unleashes a violent storm to stop Truman's escape. To capture it, the crew built a massive water tank and used industrial wave machines and rain towers. Jim Carrey was strapped to a boat as real waves crashed over him. Carrey was nearly knocked unconscious when one wave slammed him against the boat. He insisted on finishing the take, adding authenticity to Truman's desperate fight. The danger mirrored the story itself, a man nearly killed by the artificial world trying to contain him. Fact 8. The weather in Sea Haven was carefully scripted. Sea Haven's sunny skies weren't left to chance. The production team used hidden sprinkler rigs, light diffusers, and wind machines to control the weather at all times. Even clouds were created using massive backdrops to maintain continuity. Truman's world was as tightly manufactured behind the camera as it was in the story. This obsession with control made Sea Haven feel uncanny. It was never just a real town dressed up. It was a perfectly engineered stage. Viewers didn't just watch Truman being manipulated, they were unknowingly watching the same control tactics play out on set. Fact 9. The film had over 5,000 hidden cameras. To reinforce the idea that Truman was constantly watched, the production designed shots as if they came from hidden cameras embedded in Sea Haven. Mirrors, radios, car dashboards, even buttons on shirts were fitted with faux lenses. The cinematography team used over 5,000 camera setups to mimic a world that was always spying. This technique made the audience complicit in Truman's surveillance. We weren't just observers, we were part of the audience exploiting him, blurring the line between entertainment and exploitation. Fact 10. Improvisation kept the world alive. While the script was tight, director Peter Weir encouraged improvisation to make Sea Haven feel natural. Carrey improvised Truman's famous morning line, "Good morning, and in case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night." Other actors were told to stay in character even when cameras weren't rolling, to preserve the illusion of a functioning town. This unscripted energy gave Sea Haven its authentic, slightly off-kilter vibe. Viewers couldn't always tell what was scripted and what wasn't, a fitting mirror to Truman himself, who struggled to separate reality from performance. Fact 11. Seaside's residents became part of the film. Because The Truman Show was filmed in the real town of Seaside, Florida, many local residents were recruited as extras. They were asked to ride bikes, walk dogs, and shop on cue to create the illusion of a perfectly choreographed Too Perfect town. Some even had to repeat daily commutes in loops to give Truman's world its staged, artificial rhythm. This gave Sea Haven its eerie authenticity. Everything looked real, but it felt just a little too orderly. Tourists who later visited Seaside often remarked that it felt like they were walking inside the movie, blurring the line between reality and fiction. Fact 12. The budget shrunk, thanks to Jim Carrey. Contrary to rumor, The Truman Show didn't blow past its budget. It actually cost less than originally planned. Early estimates put the price tag around $80 million, especially with the massive Sea Haven set and elaborate water sequences. But when director Peter Weir came aboard, he streamlined production and kept costs down. The biggest help came from Jim Carrey himself. At the time, Carrey was Hollywood's $20 million a movie superstar. For The Truman Show, he agreed to slash his fee to $12 million, nearly half his usual rate. That single choice helped bring the final budget to about $60 million, well below the original projection. The gamble paid off. The film grossed over $264 million worldwide, proving that a risky, high-concept satire could also be a blockbuster. Fact 13. The dome was inspired by Buckminster Fuller. The massive dome that traps Truman wasn't modeled after Arizona's Biosphere 2. That's a common misconception. The real inspiration came from architect and futurist Buckminster Fuller, who popularized the geodesic dome as a symbol of utopian design in the mid-20th century. Director Peter Weir and screenwriter Andrew Niccol borrowed that imagery to frame Sea Haven not just as a town, but as a sealed, artificial world. In the film, the dome isn't only a physical structure, it's a metaphor. It represents the limits of surveillance, control, and the invisible walls that shape modern life. Seen today, Truman's dome feels strangely prophetic, not a sci-fi habitat experiment, but an allegory for how digital platforms enclose us inside curated, manufactured realities. Fact 14. Jim Carrey's chilling take on Truman's fate. For years, fans have wondered what really happened to Truman Burbank after he walked out of the dome. In a 2020 interview with Collider, Jim Carrey finally shared his own haunting answer. I often think, and am asked about what I think would have happened to Truman when he went outside the wall. It took me a while to realize that basically he was alone out there too, because everyone went back inside. They all wanted to be in the dome. Carrey's view flips the triumphant ending into something more unsettling, freedom that still feels like isolation. Fans themselves are divided. Some argue a sequel isn't needed, saying the mystery is the point. Once Truman leaves, we lose our right to watch him. Others can't help but crave more, even if the story's bittersweet ending is exactly what makes it unforgettable. Fact 15. The film sparked academic studies on surveillance. Since its release, The Truman Show has been studied in classrooms and academic journals as a text on surveillance, free will, and media ethics. Scholars often reference it alongside works like Orwell's 1984 and Foucault's conception of the panopticon. In fact, the Truman Show syndrome has become shorthand in media studies for the feeling of being constantly watched. This academic embrace transformed the movie from a hit film into a philosophical touchstone. It isn't just pop culture. It's used to teach critical theories about technology, privacy, and human psychology. Fact 16. The film's fake ads were part of the satire. Contrary to rumor, director Peter Weir never planned to use real brand advertising inside The Truman Show. Instead, he created fictional products and had characters promote them awkwardly, mid-scene. These phony ads were essential to the film's commentary on how television and media are funded. Remember Meryl's over-the-top plugs? She shills Mococo hot cocoa in the middle of a marital argument, praises the chef's pal kitchen gadget during a party, and even mentions Elk Rotary's lawnmowers at random moments. These jarring interruptions weren't just jokes. They were clues for Truman that his world wasn't real. In the film, Christof even explains that product placement is what funds the 24/7 show. By inventing fake brands, Weir kept the satire pointed, without involving real companies. The result is a sharper critique, a world where commercialism is so invasive it bleeds into the most private moments of life. Fact 17. Laura Linney built Meryl like a Stepford wife. Laura Linney, who played Truman's wife Meryl, didn't describe the role as difficult, but she did see it as a fascinating creative challenge. Working with director Peter Weir, she developed Meryl as Hannah Gill, the ambitious actress cast to play Truman's wife inside the show. To perfect the performance, Linney studied 1940s Sears catalogs, modeling her posture and domestic gestures on the idealized housewives of old advertising. She described Meryl as two characters at once, an actress desperate to hold on to her place in Christoph's show, and a Stepford-like spouse who constantly breaks into fake product endorsements. That artificial energy became one of the film's creepiest elements. Every time Meryl shills Mococo or plugs a kitchen gadget, the audience feels the same unease Truman does, a reminder that even his marriage has been staged for the cameras. Fact 18. The ending almost showed the next star. One early draft of the script didn't end with Truman's walk through the exit door. Instead, cameras were supposed to cut immediately to auditions for his replacement, the next unsuspecting baby born into a fabricated reality. Director Peter Weir decided against it, arguing the film should close on Truman's triumph rather than the cycle continuing. Had this ending been kept, the film would have leaned even darker, showing that Truman's escape didn't end the exploitation. By choosing hope instead, Weir gave audiences catharsis while leaving just enough unease lingering. Fact 19. Kanye West compared himself to Truman. The Truman Show didn't just influence filmmakers and psychologists, it also made its way into pop culture. In a 2013 interview, Kanye West described his life using a direct reference to Truman's escape, saying, "I have driven my Truman Show boat into the painting." Kanye's line echoed the film's climactic moment, when Truman sails into the edge of his manufactured world and literally crashes into the painted sky. For Kanye, it was a metaphor for breaking through creative limits and feeling trapped inside the expectations built around him. Critics, of course, saw it differently. Some argued it revealed Kanye's outsized ego, a man who believed the world revolved around him, just as Truman once believed his world was real. Whatever the intent, the fact that a hip-hop superstar used The Truman Show to define his own struggles proves the film's lasting cultural reach, decades after its release. Fact 20. The film became an unexpected hit. Paramount worried The Truman Show might be too strange to market. Jim Carrey was stepping away from slapstick into drama, and his last attempt at a darker role, the Cable Guy, had underperformed. The concept itself was risky, a surreal mix of satire, science fiction, and heartfelt drama. But against the odds, the gamble worked. Made for about $60 million, well under its original $80 million projection, the film went on to gross over $264 million worldwide, more than quadrupling its budget. It also earned 3 Oscar nominations, including Best Director for Peter Weir, and won multiple Golden Globes, Jim Carrey for Best Actor, Ed Harris for Best Supporting Actor, and Best Original Score. What began as a marketing headache became one of the most acclaimed and profitable films of the late 90s, proof that audiences were ready for a story as unsettling as it was uplifting. We've seen how The Truman Show evolved from a dark thriller into a cultural prophecy, spawning new syndromes, sparking academic studies, and even risking its star's safety. But there's one last strange detail, a bonus fact that shows just how much the movie shaped real-life conversations. Bonus fact: the film influenced the legal debate on privacy. After its release, The Truman Show was cited in multiple debates about privacy rights and media ethics. Legal scholars pointed to the film when discussing cases of hidden surveillance, arguing that it highlighted the dangers of treating human lives as entertainment without consent. This strange cultural afterlife made the film more than just entertainment. It became part of the legal and philosophical dialogue about our right to autonomy. Truman's fictional struggle found echoes in real-world courtrooms and classrooms. The Truman Show remains one of the strangest blockbusters ever made, equal parts comedy, drama, and philosophical experiment. From Seaside's eerie perfection to Jim Carrey's pay cut, from the 5,000 hidden cameras woven into Sea Haven to the way the film even shaped real psychological delusions, it blurred the line between fiction and reality both on and off screen. Decades later, as we willingly broadcast our lives online, Truman's story feels less like satire and more like prophecy. It wasn't just about a man escaping a dome. It was a warning that the dome might follow us into real life. And that's what makes it timeless. This is Strange Flick Facts, where we uncover the bizarre truths behind your favorite films.